Yo, what is up guys, Voltex here, back with another Ninjala video. In this video, I'm going to be covering the Scrap Saber for the weapon analysis. The Scrap Saber came out this season for season 4 of Ninjala, even though the season is ending March 24th, basically toward the end of March, end of the month when I'm recording this video. The Scrap Saber is a fairly medium range type weapon that's mainly played as a support type weapon. The weapon doesn't have any type of natural combos at all, like how the Ebon Katana and some other weapons have, and it does pretty big amount of burst damage, mainly a support type weapon. I'm going to be covering all of the attacks, the special, and the ninjutsu it has. Starting off with normal attack. Normal attack is a fairly medium range type move. It covers quite a bit of distance, so it's good for like almost whiff punishing certain opponents if you can get the spacing right. And it does a fair bit amount of damage. Either does 70 or 75 damage per hit, but it can't naturally combo. So you just, if you press the ZR button over and over again, it does an automatic combo. It doesn't have that. So each of its hits are disconnected, meaning that it just repeats the same move over and over again. But overall, normal attack is a pretty good move on the weapon. It's good for just whiff punishing in general and so on. Next is the back attack. The back attack is a really solid move on the weapon, probably one of its best moves it has, because back attack, if you use it out of range, just out of range like the other weapons, it can chase. It has a chase mechanic. Normal attack doesn't have a chase mechanic, but back attack does. And then just like the other katanas in the boards, you do a teleport and it does a swing. But the back attack for the Scrap Saber does a lot of damage. A small weapon, it does 100 damage per hit, and then a big weapon, it either does about 105 damage or 110 damage. So back attack is a very solid move, and it does a lot of big burst damage. The next is the wide attack. The wide attack on the Scrap Saber is an interesting one. The wide attack is mainly used as a type of crowd control move, because how it works is when you use the button, you go for it a little bit and it does a 360-degree AoE like hit, but the hit knocks up opponents. It knocks them up and a little bit towards you. So it's a great crowd control for when you're fighting multiple people or multiple people on the same team. And then you can also use it on drones, for when if people try to approach you, it will probably hit them. If you're looking at the drone from front of you, if you do wide attack, it can potentially hit people that are behind you that you can't see trying to approach you. So wide attack is pretty solid for that regard. Probably use wide attack if you know enemies are around you and you're trying to get a drone. And wide attack does, I think, 70 damage for small weapon, and then I forget how much damage for a big weapon, but I would say probably around like 80 or 85. Next is the special called Froggy Block. Froggy Block is an interesting one. When you press the button, you create a literal block. This block is just like act like a physical wall, so it can be stood on and it can block people and can block all types of projectiles and stuff whatnot. You basically create your own piece of cover. It's a pretty solid move, and depending on the player, you can get pretty stylish with it. But Froggy Block has another unique property as well. If you hold the stick left or down, which is the back attack and the wide attack variant, instead of putting the block in front of you at a set distance, it will target either a drone or an enemy when you use the wide attack or the back attack variant, and you know it will do this attack variant because your character will put their hand in front of them, signaling like you're targeting something. So that's how you know when you got the attack variant. And then the attack variant of Froggy Block, when you're on the ground and you do the attack variant, unlike the normal variant where the wall goes up and is pretty tall, the frog block is like sitting halfway in the ground. So kind of be mindful of that when you do the attack variant. The abilities that come with Froggy Block are called Bumpy Box and Unstoppable. Bumpy Box, the attack strength of specials increases each time you defeat an opponent. Because I think Froggy Block, when you hit an opponent with it, does 30 damage, and then each time you get a KO, that increases. And I do not know the maximum damage it can do at this time. And then Unstoppable only activates when you have a big weapon, so when the big weapon variant of the Scrap Saber, and that restores life when you use special. Like when you press the button, it gives you back a little bit of health. The health recovery is pretty decent. I'd probably say about like 30, either 20, 30, or 35 health when I use it, so it's pretty solid and decent amount of health. That pretty much covers the Frog Block. Frog block basically used to create cover or disrupt enemies and so whatnot. And the Frog Block can also push drones out of the way. So it's great for when you're coming on people and want to get them off the drone, because it will knock them back and move the drone in the process while doing damage. So Froggy Block is a pretty good special overall. The next, which is the final one so far, is the Ninjutsu. The Ninjutsu is a new one called Shinobi Disco. When you press the button, you basically create a force field, and any opponent who touches the force field during the time will be forced to dance and cannot attack, and is stuck in place. When casting Shinobi Disco, you are completely invincible, so it's a great defensive ninjutsu to use / utility. And then any opponent who's defeated after who was dancing, it automatically turns into an E-pawn. But be mindful though, because since you're using the Scrap Saber, all of its hits can knocks back the opponents, and which will knock them out the dancing state, because other weapons like katana or the yo-yos or the boards, when they do their normal attack, it doesn't knock back opponents. So people who are dancing gets hit by those weapons will continue dancing until they get knocked back. Overall, Shinobi Disco is pretty strong if you know how to use it right, and it can definitely turn some team fights around if you're using it in team battle. Overall, the Scrap Saber is a fantastic support weapon with its entire kit, including gum lasers. Gum lasers, you can use that kind of as a wall to stop people aggressing on you and to block other gum shoots. So that pretty much about does it for the Scrap Saber. Pretty solid weapon. Mainly like a heavy support weapon as well. So all you support players in the game, I recommend you at least trying out this weapon and see how you like it. But anyways guys, that will cover the weapon analysis for this video for the Scrap Saber, and in the next video I will be covering the Chewing V. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.